All right, we're back. We're talking the movie My Many Sons. It premiered in Nashville last night at Lipscomb University. You can find it on iTunes and Amazon and, as of today, in Walmarts nationwide. The producers of the movie, Casey Bond, Brad Wilson. You guys have a production company.
We do.
By the way, let's talk about that, Brad. It's called Higher Purpose Entertainment.
That's right. Yeah.
What is the purpose of Higher Purpose Entertainment?
Well, I think, like I was saying a while ago about elevating the human spirit, I think if there was just a few words to sum it up, it's that. There's a lot of different kinds of movies out there, and we want to do movies that elevate the human spirit and that are inspirational in nature. You know, like we say all the time, there are people around the world that we'll never meet in this lifetime that will see our films, and it's great to try to impact them in a positive way.
Absolutely. I heard someone say to me last night that this is a story and a movie that I feel fine taking my kids to.
That's right.
And sometimes when I drop them off at the movie theater on a Friday or Saturday night, I don't know exactly what it is they're going to be watching.
Right.
This film and the other ones you guys do, you don't have to worry about that as a parent.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I think when we start, we've got about 4 movies under our Higher Purpose Entertainment label, and I think when we started, excuse me, we wanted to build a brand that people would see, and when they see our logo, they know they're safe, you know, for everyone.
That's very important for sure. Casey, we talked a little bit about earlier the story of Don Meyer, the legendary Lipscomb basketball coach, and all the people he impacted. And part of that is not just the success on the court. It is certainly the tragedies that he had to deal with off the court. And we hinted earlier the huge car accident they went through, and then obviously they found cancer when they were helping him rehab and going through some of the tests there. When you looked into that part of the story, how did that tragedy impact Don Meyer as a person and a character ultimately in your film?
Oh, I mean, it was huge in his life, and I think that was honestly one of the most attractive parts of the story in terms of seeing the change that took place. Now, all the things he was teaching his players about toughness and character, all these things, all of a sudden, boom, this accident happens, and he's faced with some of the, you know, the toughest adversity and hurdles to overcome right there. And so it's almost like now he's got to practice what he preaches. And you know, I think it really, obviously really changed him, where you know, life was, you better tell the people that you love them. And it was just a tremendous impact it had. And obviously coming from that, facing the adversity, coaching from a wheelchair, becoming the most winning coach, it was just, when I heard the story, I was like, how do more people not know about this story? And that was a huge reason we wanted to do this film too. I mean, it deserves to be told. That
was one of the interesting things to me about Don Myers, from someone who did not grow up in Tennessee or in Nashville. I was working in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the time of the accident. And up until then, I'd sort of heard the name Don Myers as a great basketball coach at the quote-unquote lower levels of college basketball. And then all of a sudden you hear this story and it's, whoa, and it kind of makes you step back. And then I moved here a couple of years later, and you talk to all the people who knew him and played for him and coached against him, like Rick Byrd at Belmont and those guys. And it was so interesting to have the story kind of come to life from that perspective. And I'm curious, is the fact that so many people kind of took notice to him at a national level, really because of the accident. You guys, I think really it's safe to say the movie in somewhat is centered around that. It really starts the opening scene with that accident, and you get back to it and the result of it later. But is that part of the reason that the accident was really, as unfortunate as it was, it's what kind of spread his story to the masses several years ago?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
think so.
You know, he won the ESPY Award for Perseverance in 2009. That's like, it's really probably I think one of the biggest awards in sports. And I think that put him on the national platform. And I know one of the things that he really was praying about that would come from this accident is that he would someday or somehow have an opportunity to speak to a lot of people. Now, of course, he was speaking to a lot of players and everything, and really built his legacy that way. But there he's sitting at the ESPY Awards, gets up with his walker, gets on the stage, and he's talking to everyone in sports. I mean, your Kobe Bryant's, your Michael Jordan's, all those different people who were there. Now he's got this platform to share this story and impact a whole lot of people. So, you know, that right there shows that you know, he had a real purpose with what he wanted to do after he was in that accident.
And this guy never stopped. We saw him, 3 weeks or so before he passed away, and we flew to Texas to meet him. He was doing one of his programs, one of his schools, you know, the coaches, and he wasn't in great shape, but nothing stopped this guy. I mean, he was there, up there in his wheelchair. You could barely hear him talk, and it was there that we got to tell him that we are ready to move forward and do the movie, and he said, anything you need, we'll be there.
That had to be an absolute thrill, and I want to talk about that. Brad, when you guys came up with the idea, how tough of a sell was it to sit down with him and say, this is what we want to do, we're going to document your life? And I'll be honest, I told you guys that before this, there's some moments early on in the movie where I'm like, I'm not sure if he's coming across as a great guy here, because he's that difficult of a coach. He's so stern that you kind of wonder, I'm not sure I could make it playing for that guy. How difficult of a sell was it, if at all, to say, hey, we're going to tell your story, we're going to be real, we're going to show you, but this is how we believe it's going to go?
Well, Casey probably is the one that really initiated that, but I can tell you kind of a personal story. I was driving him in the car one day, and I was always a little nervous around him, you know, and he didn't talk a lot. So I had, you know, been doing this quite a while, and I worked on a mini-series called Lonesome Dove years ago. And I joked to him when I met him, I said, the very last name on the credit is mine. So it must have been a year and a half later, he said, you know, I just want you to know something. We're in the car. He said, I like the way you was it deprecating? Self-deprecating. I like that about you. And he said, but I just wanted to check you out. So I pulled out my copy of Lonesome Dove, and I fast-forwarded to the end just to see if you were who I thought you were. You know, so he checked us out pretty good, you know. But I guess, Casey, you were the one that probably initiated the talk with him, right, about the movie?
Yeah. Honestly, I was given his phone number after, you know, I said that I really wanted to make this film, and I gave him a call. I think I left him a message the first time, and then eventually he called back and was able to tell him, you know, I would just be honored to tell your story, gave background on myself, gone to Lipscomb and had done Moneyball and a couple different things, and that's what started the conversation, and he was happy to let us to tell his story, and we're real fortunate to be the guys to do that.
Was there any resistance at all when you're, as you mentioned earlier, you're doing true life characters?
Right.
People and individuals that other people know. Was there any resistance at all from, I don't know, Lipscomb family, Northern State family to just say, I don't know if this is the best idea to do this?
Initially, I didn't really feel any resistance. I think that he just wanted to do his due diligence, like, you know, checking out Brad's credit, and then I think it was actually Coach Meyer came in. They were either naming the court after him or something was going on at Lipscomb, and I got to meet him in person. We got to go in another room and sort of talk more about why I really wanted to do this film, and I think that when he saw my heart and why I wanted to do the story, I guess he felt that we were trying to tell the right thing and spread the message that he wanted, you know, which again at the end of the day is its character and the turning young boys into men.
That's a very good observation too, because when you deal with people's lives, you know, they're real people and real families, you know, so it's a little nerve-wracking.
Well, one of the most impactful things I think to me watching it last night is how real it is. Just like the example I gave from the first few minutes of the film, is he's real. He was a flawed guy. He was a great guy. He was a great basketball coach, and I think it shows at the end a good father and a great mentor to these guys. But he maybe wasn't always a great father, and he maybe wasn't always the best coach in a certain situation, but he figured out, I think, a lot as he went along, and he impacted so many people through each of those individual life lessons and ups and downs throughout. To me, that's part of the story, is there are no perfect people out there, and Don Meyer wasn't, but man, he was a darn good one.
Yeah, he was.
So,
He really was. He did influence just people from a distance, you know. I mean, he made the players pick up trash, and janitors would notice.
He made other
that.
students on campus pick up trash.
Yeah. So he was an inspiration, you know, on and off the court, I think.
Yeah, no question about it. As you guys gear up now that it's been released and it's kind of out there in the mainstream, as we mentioned, you can find it on Amazon, you can find it at iTunes, now at Walmart as well, if you just want to pick up a hard copy piece. Is there any next step to this? Someone mentioned to me last night as I was walking out, man, that was uplifting, that was good. I feel like that could be a Lifetime movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that a step that you would be interested in pursuing?
Oh, and we are.
Okay.
I mean, it sort of works in steps just like that these days. I mean, first you get a situation like this to do downloads and DVD, and so we are working with a great company called Wellgo USA, and they have the North American rights, U.S. and Canada, and then we have a distribution agent, and the next step is to go to television, and then we'll go out to the foreign markets and do the same thing, DVDs, downloads, and television.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot ahead of you guys.
Yeah.
What's the process to go through to television executives, I guess, and try to say, hey, we've got this film, we think this is something you'd be interested in?
Well, you know, as he was mentioning, we have a distribution agent, and so basically he's our representative for us and the film, and you know, we let the guys do the stuff that they're good at, and we do the producing and, you know, acting and everything, and that's what he's good at. So he goes and sells films, and he really liked this one, and we've known him a little bit, and so we wanted to give it a shot with him, and so that's how we got a deal with Wellgo in distribution. Was they really liked the film because he pitched it to them, and it's pretty straightforward, I guess you would say, and you just got to get the right film to the right people who are going to do the right thing with it. And that's why I think it took a little bit longer with this film too. We didn't just want to throw it out there to anybody who would take it. And I think Wellgo's really done a great job.
And they did all the artwork. I mean, we're very happy with the artwork, and we think it's beautiful. And so we've been real happy with them so far. And they've really been, I think they're really treating this in a special way, I think. You know?
Good. The movie is My Many Sons. If you get a look at it over here, it is a great, there we go. My Many Sons. That's the artwork on the back. It's the coach with so many people cheering him on in the, I think, patented plaid jacket that so many people were used to him in during his days at Lipscomb, where he won a national championship in 665 of his 923 career victories over 24 seasons here in the city of Nashville. The movie is My Many Sons, the legendary and inspiring story of Lipscomb basketball coach and great basketball coach Don Meyer. Our guests tonight, Casey Bond and Brad Wilson. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and chat more about this film right after this.